Oh gosh. I mean, I really put my foot in my mouth if I say some of these things. Well,
the N-word.
yes.
This is so
which
funny.
I do not use.
This is so funny that white people cannot use it, but the black people use it a lot.
Right.
So, I just don't even know how to ask. Just like,
Well,
why is that? How this thing can be like?
Well, basically it comes down to the group that owns the word are the ones that you can use it. So the difference is it's the way it's spelled.
Mm-hmm.
When it's the derogatory term, it ends with an ER.
Mm-hmm.
When it is an affectionate term, it ends with an A. So where a buddy would go up to his buddy and say, "That's my N-word," with an A. So I'm not going to say it. But if someone says, "Those fucking," oh, I'm sorry, can I even?
Yeah, sure, because like fuck is like nothing.
Okay, all right. So those fucking N-words with an ER is something that's negative and derogatory, and it's meant to be hurtful.
Uh-huh.
But the other one is meant to be sort of like camaraderie and friendship and love. It's stupid. However, the reason why it's okay for one group to say it is because they were called it, and like for example, I would never call a Jew. I don't want to say the word. It starts with a K. I would never call them that. But
I just have to guess now. What is this word?
A kike.
Huh?
A kike.
Alright.
Or a Chinese person, a chink, or any of those things, because they're so derogatory. And now probably someone's thinking, well, all right, you'll say those words, but you won't say the N-word. But I was making an example. However, Jewish women, if they're considered high maintenance,
Mm-hmm.
they could be called a Jewish American princess or a Jap.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Jewish people own that word and feel as though it's okay for them to say it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's something that describes them by them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why. See, one of the problems is in this country is you know, black people get mad at white people for using the N-word, but they're not using the ER, they're using the A.
Mm-hmm.
The ending with the A. And why shouldn't they use it? It's in every rap song. It's in videos. It's in movies. So what are you supposed to do at that point? When this part of the song comes on, are you supposed to just not say anything?
That's an interesting thing. Freedom of speech. Is it really exist? I mean, there are a lot of talks that, you know, the Big Brother, and that you can be like this. Some things you cannot talk anyway. Some stuff like there's FBI or some Secret Service will just put you in
Well,
jail
no.
or
I
something.
mean, if you're threatening the president or you're threatening, you know, something like that, then no, you can't. However, I can talk about any group I want. If I wanted to say hate speech, if I wanted to say something bad about the president, I can. I just can't threaten the president. So, I mean, this president is the most disrespected president, I think, in history.
Barack Obama?
Yes, and it's because he's black in this country. So a lot of white people, voted for him, but there are a lot of white people who are Republicans who they're saying some really offensive things and doing some offensive things, like, for example, putting his face on, like they make him look like a monkey, or they made him look like the Joker from
Batman.
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
So where I think it was a congressman who, while he was giving a speech, yelled, "You lie." That has never happened to a U.S. president.
What is your personal philosophy? What do you think?
Good experiences and bad experiences help you grow. So, you know, people say I had a really tough time in my life at this period of time.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you didn't, you wouldn't be the person you are today.
Yeah, that's true.
So you might be a completely different person.
Mm-hmm.
So you went through a bad period, however, you came out at the end, and you came out and you triumphed. So it's sort of like the American movie where we want to see happy endings as opposed to see sad endings. So I've had some great experiences, I've had some not so great experiences, but I'm thankful for those experiences because I am who I am today.
And what if there is something that help you in your life to go through the tough times? If you can talk
Well,
about
I mean, sometimes it's music. I mean, music is a great healer for a lot of people, and there are times where I will listen to music and cry because I need that. There are other times where when they say you should never feel sorry for yourself, I don't believe that. I think sometimes you should feel sorry for yourself because I think you need to wallow in misery before you come out of it, and it makes you appreciate it even more. So sometimes when I'm getting depressed, I'll think about the good things in my life to make me snap out of it. Think about, I have a good job, I have my health, blah, blah, blah. Then other times, I want to feel bad. I want to feel sorry for myself. I just want to wallow in the misery so I can get it out of my system.
All right. And you're a big fan of serial killers and stuff like this. Why?
Serial it's not like I'm a fan, like I support them. It's more of, I find it interesting. I find it interesting, that mentality, why somebody would want to do that. And I find these stories interesting. I find it even more interesting when they're caught and prosecuted. However, it's interesting, it's all about the brain, because that's really where all this sickness is. So, when they get to study them, and maybe they can prevent it from happening to somebody else, it's just fascinating.
But you also said that you kind of think about death in case of it's interesting also. So what's your thought about it?
Well, we were talking about having an examined life. You have to examine your life as opposed to just living it day by day. I think, yes, that might work for some people, but I think you need to think about the future. And thinking about the future makes you think about death, especially as you get older. Because when you're younger, people don't have a tendency to die until you get older. That's when you start knowing about death. So let's just think about your parents and your aunts and your uncles. When you're a child, they're still in their 30s, 20s, 30s. But now that you're an adult, in your 30s and 40s, well, they're now 60s, 70s. So they're now to the point of their life where they start dying. So that's when I think people start thinking about their own death.
Okay, and do you think that it will be the end, or it will be something else?
What do you mean the end?
After death.
Oh, do I believe in an afterlife?
Yeah, something.
I do not. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in heaven and hell. What I do believe is, I believe that people are energy, and energy doesn't die. So I think if you have a strong personality, then those are the people who, when they die, are more likely to kind of hang around and say even watch over other people, or that sort of thing.
Like ghosts and stuff?
Not really ghosts, but more of, as I said, I don't look at it in those terms. I look at it more of energy. So you still have your same consciousness, you're just dead. And if I was like your family member, then I could possibly watch you and try to guide you in certain ways, try to protect you in certain ways, sort of like that guardian angel kind of thing. But I'm only using angel in that reference, not as a religious reference. It's sort of like when I say, oh my God, I'm not really thinking of God. It's just the same. So I think that when you die, you just don't dissolve into nothingness. It's not just all blackness and you have no consciousness. And I don't think there is a wonderful fields of green and you're just prancing through the forest with animals that have died and other people have died. Yeah, because I've always wondered when they say, all right, when this person dies, let's say a husband dies, and then the wife dies. The husband comes to claim the wife's soul, to guide the soul into the afterlife. But what happens if you were married twice? Which husband shows up?
both.
Do both of them show up, and then what happens? So I don't know how that stuff works.
If people will write a comment on YouTube, will you answer them? If they write in English?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. So you guys can write something in the comments below, and Stephen will answer you.